Hello, Professor Brady and the online students of ENC 1102. My name is Chris Hoskins and this is my visual presentation. My topic is gun control, specifically gun control on school campus. It states in our Student Code of Conduct book that weapons and firearms are prohibited on school campuses or at any school activity. Any person caught in violation of this rule will be escorted off school property, not allowed to return, and may face criminal prosecution. Any employee that violates this policy may be suspended and or terminated. Any student violating this rule may be facing anything from a warning to fines to, in severe cases, being expelled. This is something that needs to change. Let's not be the next statistic in a mass shooting on school campus. That is why people with licenses and proper training should be able to carry firearms on school campuses because it is our constitutional right, it creates a safer environment, and it gives the people the ability to defend themselves. In the Constitution of the United States, under Amendment 2, it states, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed." That means everywhere. Right now, Senator Greg Evers and Florida Representative Greg Steube have proposed the Senate Bill 68, which will allow licensed people to carry firearms on campus. People that have proper license to carry a firearm go through extensive background and criminal checks. They must be age of 21, must be able to handle firearms safely, cannot be a convicted felon, have to be committed or have not been committed to a mental institution, nor committed for any kind of drug abuse. These are extensive searches that we go through. Not to mention the time and money we spend on classes, hunter safety courses, NRA firearms safety classes, or any kind of law enforcement safety training classes. These are just a few of the classes that we can take. And they also spend more of their own time and money on the range, learning how to properly operate their firearm. Range fees are $200 a year. You go and average at least once a month, times $20 for 50 rounds, and you usually shoot about 100 rounds per gun. So the costs are up. And the numbers are rising fast on people getting their licenses. Since 2007, permit holders have gone up 8.2 million. That's just over a million a year. And it's not just the men getting permits, which is also up 156%. Women with permits have increased 270%, which makes about 5.2% of the total adult population carrying a permit. Now you would wonder, with that many concealed carry permit holders out there, why are there so many mass shootings going on, not just in schools, but everywhere? 3 words explains everything: gun-free zones. These signs are popping up everywhere, and more about hearing about companies not wanting people to carry firearms in their establishment. And these are some major companies: Walgreens, H.H. Gregg, Target, Starbucks, Panera, Buffalo Wild Wings. And Buffalo Wild Wings are even boycotting police officers from bringing their firearms in. That is just ridiculous. And these companies wonder why they are being targeted and easily robbed. Target was robbed by somebody with a box cutter. If just one concealed carry permit holder had their firearm with them, do you think they could have gotten away with it? And criminals know that schools are some of the biggest gun-free zones there are. Lots of people in small areas not paying attention on what's going on around them, just what the professor is talking about. They have no way of defending themselves. Talk about sitting ducks. I know that there are armed security guards on campus, but it would take too long for them to respond to the situation. By then, there are mass casualties. The students and teachers are going to be the ones that could respond the fastest, but yet they are the ones that are unarmed. Since Sandy Hook, there have been an average of 1 school shooting every week. That number is staggering. That's about 126 shootings. Some of the more deadly shootings include Blacksburg, Virginia, where 32 were killed and 29 injured; Newtown, Connecticut, where 27 were killed and 2 were injured; Austin, Texas, where 16 were killed and 32 were injured. Columbine, Colorado, where 13 were killed and 21 injured. Rosebud, Oregon, 9 killed and 9 injured. And the list goes on and on. Not just in the United States, but all over the world, people are taking advantage of innocent, disarmed students and faculty. Most of these shootings are well planned out, having specific targets, knowing locations, and the best times to hit. Some of the planning goes back to several years in the making. So what makes me think that a law-abiding, firearm-carrying citizen could stop mass shootings? Out of 1,800 prison inmates, 81% tried to find out if their victim was armed. 74% of burglars avoided houses where people are home in fear of being shot, and 34% admit being scared off, shot at, or even captured by armed citizens. It has been proven that firearms are used more frequently by law-abiding citizens to repel crime than used by criminals to perpetrate crime. While in most cases, because the shooter either takes their own life or killed by law enforcement, we cannot ask them why they committed the killings. We just have to try to guess what they were thinking and going through. It cannot be determined for sure that if a law-abiding citizen carrying a firearm would deter or lessen the number of deadly shootings, but with shootings on the rise, it is necessary for the people to be able to defend themselves. It is every concealed carry permit holder's right to be able to carry and use a firearm if and when they need to. They just hope it never comes down to it. But better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Everyone has a fire extinguisher in their house, not to hope to put out a fire, but to put one out if they need to. The same should be for firearms and their owners.